Hey guys, this is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area. Today I want to do a video for you on how to buy your first home. What to do, how to do it, all that great stuff. Let's get into it. So buying a home is a very important step in your life, whether it be to build assets, to have a home to call your home, or eventually for it to be passed down to maybe your children or your family or whatever that situation looks like. So let's say I'm thinking of buying a home. What is going to be some of my first steps? Well, my first step, that nobody does this step first a lot of times. So a lot of people don't do this step first. But my first step is going to be, how do I qualify to buy a home, right? So I'm going to have to talk to a lender first, right? I'm a licensed lender, so I'm telling you that's the thing to do. First thing you got to do is find out, okay, here's my credit score. This is how much I make. Or if I'm self-employed, this is the business I'm in. Can I qualify? What my down payment is going to look like, and that kind of stuff, right? So you're going to talk to the lender first. Or you could decide to go to a realtor and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a home. I'm not sure how much I qualify for. And that realtor will be able to put you onto their lender, because we must know how much you qualify for and that kind of stuff. Now, even if you're not qualified at the time when you go and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a home, I need to know how much I qualify for, maybe your credit score maybe not high enough, or maybe you don't have the income or whatever it is, at least we're then able to put you on a little system to get you to where you want to get to buy the home. So let's say you're now qualified, you are ready to buy this home, your credit score is good, your income is good, you could buy the home, you're looking for a certain particular price range, right? If you're a first-time home buyer, there's going to be programs that are available to you. Sometimes they have down payment assistance program. Some areas qualify for what we call a USDA loan, which is a loan with no money down. Sometimes we have the FHA, which is a loan with 3.5% down. You could buy any home, any townhome, and some condos. There's some restrictions in buying a condo with a FHA loan, because most of the time for FHA, they want the condo unit or the development to be at least 70% owner occupied. Sometimes they ask 60% owner occupied. Sometimes they ask 80% owner occupied. A lot of time in condos in our area, we don't have that big percentage of owner occupancy, because a lot of time people buy the condos and rent them, or they use them for Airbnb or whatever it is they do with them. So sometimes we can't meet the occupancy ratio. So if we can't meet the occupancy ratio, then you could do a single family home, or you could do a townhome. Townhomes qualify under FHA as well. So that's 3.5% down. If you're in the military, I know you already know this, you do a VA loan. VA is no money down, but you had to have been active in the military at some point to qualify to do a VA loan. It's only for vets, okay? Let's get that clear. So we need to find out how much money you're working with and which one of these loan programs would work best for you. Maybe you only have the 3.5% to put down, so want to do FHA. Maybe you want to do USDA. If USDA is more of a rural purchase, and not all areas that are considered rural and qualified for USDA is really rural. So I don't want you to think about you got to be in the middle of some bush or something. That is not what it means. It just have to qualify. It has to be zone rural, and USDA do have a map. So if you go on their website, you're able to plug in the address and you'll know if it qualifies for USDA or not. Another thing to do is you may want to, you're going to start looking at the internet and you're going to look at different houses. The reason why you want to get pre-approved first as well is because you don't want to get caught up with a higher price home that you can't afford, because then it's going to be very hard to come back down to reality. So let's say you're looking at Zillow and you're looking at homes priced between $400,000 and $500,000, but you're only qualified to buy a home at $300,000. It's $100,000 difference. So obviously the $300,000 home is going to be different from the $400,000 home. Don't get caught up with that, guys. Remember, if you're a first-time home buyer, this is just the first step to get you to where you want to get to. So don't get caught up in, well, I need to have this, and I need to have that because the apartment I'm renting has this. Don't get caught up with that, because if you get caught up with that, what's going to happen is you're going to be setting your expectations so high when they should be here. And we see it happening a lot. So here is what the thing is with home ownership. Your first home may not be your dream home, but you buy your first home, you live in there, it's going to appreciate, and within 2 to 5 years, you could sell the first home and go buy your second home where you could get more stuff in it. But don't get caught up with, well, my friend have a home and they have a jacuzzi or they have a pool or they have a that, so I need to have my home to have the same. No, 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 no. Let's not do that, right? Let's not do that, okay? Let's buy the home you can afford with the proximity to your job, which is going to be very important, because if you have to still work and commute to work, we need to make sure that we have that. And that's going to be decent enough for your family, meaning, you know, it's going to give you a good living. It's not like you're going to have to be, you know, the home need work and you can't live in there, right? So you buy the first home you can afford, you move into that home, you fix the home the way you want it, you start to build equity as you live there, and within 2 to 3 years, you sell that home and buy another home. A lot of times when you see people with a home that has all kind of bells and whistles, that's not necessarily their first home. And if it's their first home, maybe they have a job that gives them that kind of income, or maybe they have family members that help them. Like with my son, I helped him with his down payment, right? So he couldn't have afforded the house. He could afford the house, the monthly payment on the home, but he didn't have the down payment saved. So you never know where people are buying these homes from. But the fact of the matter is, don't get caught up with that. Get caught up with what you can afford. Another thing I don't want you to get caught up with, that's a big one. Don't get caught up in where you're currently renting and try to compare that to the house you want to buy, right? Because maybe you're renting something for $2,500 a month and it has all kind of crazy stuff, right? As an example. Maybe you're qualified to buy a house for $300,000 and the $300,000 home does not have all the stuff that you're renting for $2,500. That doesn't mean that's a bad deal, because guess what? The landlord wants you to stay and keep paying them the $2,500 a month. They don't want you to leave. Right? So if you get it in your head where, well, they have all these amenities and I really like it, so I need to rent, you're turning away $2,500 a month. At the end of 2 to 5 years, you have nothing to show but that you're paying rent and you're a very good tenant. You don't want to be a professional tenant. No, that's not a good thing. You want to buy something, live in there for 2 to 5 years, whatever it is, sell that, and then move on to your hotter home. Stay in that home for 2 to 5 years, sell that, and then move on to your hotter home, and you keep doing that, right? So don't set your expectations too high until you find out how much home you can afford to buy, what you qualify for. Don't go to your friend or your family home and they have all these whistles and bells and you want the same and you don't want to buy a home because your home I can only qualify for $300,000, but the home I really want is $450,000. Don't get caught up with that, guys. I'm telling you, I see it happen so many times. Remember that the people that have the homes with the whistle and bells are not in your situation. And you have to start off at your own situation. Where are you in life? Okay, I can afford to buy a townhome over here. Townhome for $250,000. I'll live in there for a few years. Then I'll sell that townhome and buy a home. Right? Or a condo, whatever it is. So the first step is getting qualified. The next step is finding what your price point is. Make sure whatever your price point is, you're able to find a home in the area you want to find a home in. Maybe you might need to go out a little bit. Maybe in your immediate area, you're not gonna find that price point, but maybe if you went to half an hour or 45 minutes out, you'll find it. You have to then decide, do I want to drive 45 minutes more? Is it worth it for me to buy a home 45 minutes further away from my job? Do I want to make a 45-minute drive back and forth every day? Is it worth it to me? Or can I find a virtual job where I don't have to go to work, right? So maybe I could find a virtual job where I could work from home, and if that's the case, then I don't mind living 45 minutes out. Or maybe 45 minutes out is not too bad because I do have better school districts and I have children, so maybe that may not be a bad thing. You know, maybe when my husband come home, he could babysit the kids and then I could go work. Whatever it is, just figure it out. But don't get caught up. What I don't want you to do, and I know I'm pressing on this a lot because I see it happen so many times. Don't start to home shop until you know what you qualify for. If you see beautiful new construction homes, you go, you look at them, you get caught up, and now you can't qualify to buy one, but that's what you really want. Don't get caught up with that. Remember, everybody started from somewhere before they became where they're at, right? So maybe you can't afford to buy the $500,000 home today, but maybe you could buy the $300,000 home, and in a few years you could buy the $500,000 or the $600,000 home. Make sure your monthly payment is where you want it to be. That's very important. Don't think about, a lot of people get caught up with, oh my God, I'm going to owe the bank for 30 years. And if I stay in the home for 30 years, I'm going to be paying this much more in interest. Let me ask you a question though. Do you have credit cards? How much interest rate are you paying on your credit cards if you do have credit cards? Do you have student loans? How much money are you paying on the student loan? And guess what? When you finish paying off the credit card or you finish paying off the student loan, what do you have to show? Congratulations, I just completed paying off my credit card. I'm now debt free, yay. What do you have to show for it? Not many people live in a home for 30 years. The whole idea is to get the mortgage, get in the home, and let it start to build equity for you so you could do something with the equity. That's the whole idea. Because if you stay paying rent, you're not building any kind of equity with rent. You're just paying the landlord. You have nothing to show. So you stayed in a nice luxury apartment. It's $3,000 a month, and it has all the amenities I like. How many times are you using those amenities, guys? I know I said this in another video before. How many times are you literally taking advantage keep going too fast, of the amenities? How often are we doing that? Right? So don't get caught up in the luxury apartment rental. Get caught up in what can I buy and I can afford and call it my own. This is my property. It's going to be building equity over a course period of time, where I could either pull the equity out, I could pull the equity out and send my kids to college. I could pay my kids' college tuition if I decide to live there and not move. That's fine. I could then sell the home. I could buy a bigger home. That's fine. I could pull the equity out and buy a rental property or an investment property, or do other investments with the equity to build my wealth. That's exactly how people do it. You could never go wrong in buying a home. So you don't want to get caught up. You don't want to, what I don't want you to do, I don't want you to get caught up in comparing a luxury apartment to a home that you can afford, or comparing anywhere that you're renting to what you can afford. Oh my God, I want to have a house with a pool, but I only qualify for this. And most homes at this price point don't have a pool. Guess what? As long as there's enough space in the backyard to build a pool, you buy that home, you stay in there. Once the home build equity, you pull some of the equity out, and there goes your pool. Put your own pool in. You then have a brand new pool, right? So these are some of the things that you need to look at as you come into buying a home. Don't get caught up with, well, I really need this. I really need a huge closet because I have a lot of clothes. What? Are you serious? Give some clothes away to Goodwill. Give some clothes away to your family and buy a home. I'm sorry, I don't need to sound preachy, but I don't like hearing things like that. What are you saying? Oh, I need to have this big walk-in closet. All the rooms should have a walk-in closet. Come on, that's the least of your worries, guys. Come on. Or guess what? Put some clothes in storage, because we all know you can only wear one outfit a day. Isn't that a fact? You can only wear one outfit a day. So put some clothes in storage and get you some real estate so that can start to build. You got it. Equity. That is the only way you're going to make it in life. You're going to have to be invested in something that's going to be making money for you. You will not be able to work and get rich. That's not going to happen. You cannot work and get rich. If you were to work and save whatever you want to save, it would take so many years. Like you'll hear stories of, oh, this lady used to wash clothes, and when she died, they found that she had $1 million under her mattress or something to that effect. What did she do with the $1 million? You know how much, if she was to have invested, as she started to save this $1 million, and this is just an example, if she was to have invested, it would have never been $1 million. It probably been $5, $6, $7 million. Okay? So you're not going to be able to save or work your regular job to save to get rich. You work your regular job to save, to invest in something that's going to be able to accumulate wealth for you while you are sleeping. And the best way to do that is by buying a home. So let's go back to topic. We found out how much money we're able, what we're approved for. We found out what kind of home we could buy. Don't get caught up again in, I want a bigger home or whatever it is. At that point in time, you're going to start to look for homes. I always like to find off-market properties. I find that off-market properties get the better deal than when you find properties on the internet. Properties are still good to find on the internet, but when you're able to find an off-market property that nobody else knows about, just you and the homeowner, and you're able to negotiate a price for that, that's something that I really, really like. So that's something I could definitely get involved with. So you could find an off-market property. You find the property. I would suggest you work with a realtor, especially if this is the first time you're buying a home. You're going to put an offer in. Now, a few things I want you to understand with putting an offer in, and every state is different. You need to understand your timelines. This is what I mean. What is your inspection period? By what time do you need to have inspection done and have the report back to you so you don't lose your deposit in case you find something that you want to back out of the deal with? Second thing is, at what point do you need to have your mortgage in place? Because they give you a pre-approval, but now they're going to have to actually give you the mortgage. So once you find the home, both parties sign the contract, seller sign, you sign, now it goes to your lender, and now they're going to start processing the loan. What is the timeline for you to have a letter of commitment from the bank saying, yes, we're committed to this loan and we're really going to get this loan? You need to know that. And what is your closing date? And what is your closing cost, right? So the lender will tell you, you qualify for this amount, you can put this amount down, you'd need this amount to close, right? So you have that on the wrap. As it approaches your closing date, you're going to want to get insurance, right? You're going to have to get property insurance. I should have turned my phone on when it keeps going off. You're going to need to get property insurance, right, for the home. And you got to buy a full year of insurance, because you need to give this to the bank, evidence that you already have 1 year paid up of insurance. So when they start to escrow your mortgage payment, which we'll get into in a second, then that's going to be a part of it. So when you get to the closing table, you'd have already had to buy an insurance policy to cover the property, right? And the bank needs to prove that. At the closing table, they're going to want you to pay, this is going to be a part of your closing cost, is going to be the taxes, because the property is going to have taxes on it. And maybe, depends upon the time of the year that you're closing, the seller may have paid the taxes and you got to credit them back the money. The bank sometimes will take a full year of taxes as part of your closing costs, because they want, based upon, especially if you're at the end of a tax year, because tax year don't necessarily run January through December, right? They run like August to September, October to November, that kind of stuff. So based upon when you're closing, you may have to either pay a full year or a partial amount of months of taxes, because the bank is going to escrow your insurance and taxes. So that means every month, let's say the taxes was $4,000 a year. They're going to divide that by 12, and they're going to have you pay whatever that monthly payment is every month in your mortgage payment. They're going to do the same thing for your insurance. They're going to divide whatever, let's say you bought insurance for $800. They're going to divide that by 12, and whatever that amount is, that's going to be added to your mortgage. So mortgage, taxes, and insurance will be your monthly payment, right? And then you're going to have to pay your other bills, like your electric bill, all that stuff is going to be different. But your mortgage, taxes, and insurance, especially for first-time homeowner, especially for people putting less than 20% down, the bank is going to escrow this. Especially if you're doing an FHA, VA, any kind of government loan, you're going to have, the bank will escrow for those things, but you got to pay into it first. Because let's say you're closing in July, and the next tax year starts September 1st. The bank, you won't be able to pay enough monthly payment to make up for the bank to have money to pay the taxes for September 1st. So they're going to, part of your closing costs is going to include some of that money that the bank is going to put in escrow. So when September 1st comes, they could pay your property taxes. Same thing for the insurance, right? Insurance, you normally pay a full year upfront, so that then the bank could divide that out into 12 and take that money, you pay that money on top of your mortgage, so that at the end of the year, they're able to pay your insurance for you. So the bank, once they give you the loan, you're going to have your mortgage loan to pay monthly, and they're going to set up an escrow account. That's where each month when you pay your insurance and your taxes, it's going to go in that escrow account. Now, what can happen is at the end of the first year, the bank could send you a statement saying, hey, your escrow account is short because either your insurance or your taxes went up. So maybe when you bought the property, it was $4,000 a year. Maybe they increased the taxes to $4,500 a year. And the bank was only escrowing to pay $4,000. So now your escrow account is short $500. And the bank is going to give you two choices. You could send us a check for $500 to make up for the default, or you could spread it over 12 months. So they could divide the $500 into 12 payments, and they're going to add that on top of your mortgage, taxes, and insurance because your taxes went up or your insurance went up, right? So that's basically how your monthly payment, if you're in a 30-year fixed mortgage, that's going to remain the same, but your taxes and your insurance could go up or down or whatever it is. Maybe they thought the taxes were $4,000 a month, but the taxes was really $3,500 a month. So at the end of the year, when they pay the taxes and realize it's only $3,500, they will send you a refund check saying, hey, you have surplus in your escrow account. By $500, they're going to send you a check. So that's how that works. Okay, so that's the whole idea of how to buy my first home. Get qualified first, buy a lender, find a realtor, try to find an off-market property if possible, put your offer in, Make sure you know what your timelines are. If you have 10 days to do home inspection, the inspection and the report must be completed within that 10 days. And if anything comes up on the inspection that you don't like, you need to negotiate that before the 10 days is up, or you need to ask for an extension on your inspection or your due diligence period. Okay? Once that's done, you need to find out how much days do I have to get my mortgage commitment. Maybe for most of the time it's going to be 30 days. So in 30 days, you need to get your mortgage commitment. Boom, we're doing this, and then they arrange for closing. Remember, guys, we do complimentary Zoom calls all the time on any of the topics I cover in my videos. There should be a number here, a number below. You could call or text and say, hey, I'd like to set up a complimentary consultation on this topic, and we will do that for you. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to like and subscribe. I keep forgetting to say this. Like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.